Right.
How I found out about this, I'll never know.
Well, I don't know. How did you even? Your parents spoke Polish,
Yeah, right.
right? You spoke. I mean, and you
English.
learned to speak English at a
Right.
very early age, right? But, so anyway, here you were at.
How I
18 years
got
old.
here, 18 years old, and I come from this Pittston Junction. They called the junction because two rivers met there.
Was it
They
near
joined.
Pittsburgh?
No, Wilkes-Barre.
Wilkes-Barre.
Pittston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The two rivers
Yeah,
met
Pittston,
there.
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which two rivers?
Lackawanna and
Lackawanna and
Susquehanna.
Susquehanna. Okay.
And this was they called Pittston Junction because the two rivers
Mm-hmm.
joined there.
Right.
And was so I heard about this area that they were repairing airplanes, and somehow I don't know how I got involved, but I got registered, and next thing you know I was sent to Middletown. But how that happened, I'll never read. I can't remember.
At age.
Because I was only 18 years old.
18 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we came and worked in Middletown.
And you.
Work on.
Did you come with a bunch of girls, maybe?
B-54.
Well,
Girlfriends?
where'd you live? You lived in Harrisburg
On Harrisburg on 5th Street.
on 5th Street, and you had some roommates, and you said you
Yeah.
remembered one of the. Was the one lady you remember?
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
What was her name?
We lived. Then we moved to Middletown with family. But it was it was a very unique time in my life. I left home. I didn't know what I was getting into. When we were growing up, you were sheltered. You weren't
Lived in a village.
you weren't really aware of what was going on in the world. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was no television.
No television, no one.
No.
So you
Instant
found yourself
news.
in Middletown at the one of the biggest parts of the really of the war,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what was that? What were you? You were part of a group. What was that group called?
Rosie Rivers.
Rosie the River. So you're living Rosie the River.
That's right.
Didn't realize how significant that would be.
And after that, when that was over, I worked at Indian Town Gap.
Oh,
So did I,
Did you?
years later.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, when you were there, you met somebody.
My husband.
Uh-huh.
I met him
How did that
at
tell us that?
Middletown.
How did you do that? How?
Well,
well.
walking out of work, this went on for weeks.
Mhm.
I walked, up front, and he was behind me. I thought you just felt somebody following you, but you didn't know who or what or if that was true. But you just had this feeling.
Mhm.
And one day I just turned around and I said, "Are you following me, by the way?"
Very
So
blunt.
he was too shy to
He was
ask you.
very shy, yeah.
Mhm.
So then, he started talking to me.
Was he working there? Was
Yeah,
he
he was
in
working
the
there.
service?
And working there.
No, he was he worked civil service, right?
Yeah.
And
He was an airplane mechanic.
yeah, he was a mechanic.
Oh.
And actually he
Where
had
was
some.
he from originally?
Palmyra.
Palmyra.
Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, grew up in,
Your
and
roots
all
are
the his
here.
roots are here, and that traces all the way back to.
But my
the
roots are really in
pre-revolutionary.
Pittston, Scranton area.
Yeah.
Wow.
My mom's roots are
Yeah, but the things that I left home,
Mhm.
and I was completely stupid.
Do you understand Yak Shamash?
Yak Shamash, yeah. Dobshe, dobshe.
Good. That's how are you? And she answered good.
See, you
Oh,
still
yeah.
you have a little bit
Oh,
of that,
yeah.
yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story.
Mhm.
When I went to kindergarten, it was a Catholic school, and the nun said, anybody who could say the Hail Mary and the Our Father, she's got a prize for them. And she takes out this rosary beads, and well, I would love to have that. So I jump up, put my hand up, and she calls me. I got in front of the whole class, said the prayers, and she says, okay, you can sit down now. So she asked another kid, who was a boy by the name of Joseph. He got up there and he said it. she gave him the rosary.
Oh,
And
you
I
get
said,
it.
but I said it. I said it in Polish. She was Irish. So she had no idea what I
Well, they
was
don't.
saying. And from that time
Now, where was
on-
that? Where was that?
In New York.
That was in New,
Yonkers.
in New York.
Oh, in Yonkers.
Wow.
And so from that time on, my mother said I stopped speaking. I knew Ukrainian and Polish,
Did you?
but I stopped speaking it because
Wow. Because you knew that.
I got robbed.
You got robbed.
Yeah.
That's
That is something.
strange.
So anyway,
Aunt Clarence here was our neighbor for years.
Mhm.
We live on West Maple Street.
Uh-huh.
well, when did you move? Okay, how did you get from Harrisburg to Maple Street? Let's go through that.
Well, he went to Middletown first. She
Yeah, or
went from
Middletown.
Harrisburg
Well,
to
you were in
Middletown.
Harrisburg, then you were in Middletown.
I went from
Yeah, and then
Pittston to
yeah,
Harrisburg.
and then Harrisburg to Middletown. Right.
And then you
Harrisburg
met your
to Middletown.
husband to be.
And then,
Right,
yeah,
and then you
then
met that. And then how long did you, from the time you met him till the time you actually got married?
oh God, I never thought about that. I forgot.
Uh-huh. Mustn't have been too much time.
But I met him at
Was it love at first sight? Or did he have to work on you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. Do you remember all those details about your life?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Well, he saw this pretty
Yeah, and
looking girl. He says, I gotta have
they
her
were
for a
they
wife.
were a good-looking couple, that's for sure. Looking at the pictures, huh? I'll have to show some of those pictures. But anyway, so you ended up from there. Then you ended up in on is it Cornwall Road, Lebanon?
That's the first place we lived.
First place you lived after you got married, right?
Mhm.
So you lived in because Grandpa lived on
North Railroad Street.
North Railroad Street, Gravel Hill Road.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's
Mm.
where my dad grew up, right there.
All right.
And so I guess you got married. Oh, and then where did you go on your honeymoon?
We went to New York.
Where?
Or what's that famous place people go to?
Radio
The
City
Falls.
Hall.
The Falls.
Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls
Niagara Falls. Yeah.
in Canada.
Yeah, you were on the Canadian side.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm. What
That's
do you
where
remember?
you get the best view.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the least spoiled. Yeah.
did that.
So then you ended up. Bruce was born where?
What, you mean what hospital?
Well, yeah, you were living in Lebanon, right? It was the first
Right.
house there in Lebanon.
Right.
Was it Good
He was
Samaritan?
born in the Hershey Hospital
Oh.
Oh, where he was? I thought that.
Yeah.
Okay.
because at that time Lebanon didn't have any hospital.
Huh.
Do you know they're tearing that hospital down?
Well, in
Hershey?
that old, really?
Yeah. They're putting a new one up.
That hospital, the little hospital that.
So
turned
Bruce
that
and
down.
Debbie were both born in the Hershey Hospital? See, I thought I was born a Good Samaritan.
Yeah. I have to think, I don't remember. Talk about something else, then I'll think about it.
Okay. All right, so when did you
Where
go?
were you born?
46,
46?
Harrisburg.
Harrisburg Hospital. Your parents were Harrisburg.
Yeah, we lived in Harrisburg, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clarence, yeah, you said your first house was
In
is
the
no
center
longer-
of Harrisburg.
Center of Harrisburg. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got married where?
Marion Heights, up in the coal regions.
Marion
I'll
Heights.
be darned.
Then Wilkes-Barre area?
It's south of Wilkes-Barre.
How did you end up in the coal regions then?
My parents are originally from the coal regions.
So
Well, that's, that,
both of them are.
when you think about
two
Wilkes-Barre,
things in
that's
common.
coal regions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my father went to New York for work
Okay.
because at that time the coal mines weren't doing
Yeah.
well.
So you basically both of you have the same roots of
Background.
Yeah.
Polish immigrants working in the coal
They had
regions.
good weddings.
They had
Our,
good
our
weddings.
wedding,
Yeah.
our wedding, the people start coming, it was on a Saturday. People start coming Thursday night. So we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday was the real wedding. Saturday night we went on a honeymoon. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We came back Saturday. My mother says, "Thank God you didn't come back yesterday." And I said, "Why? What happened yesterday?" She says, "The guests finally left."
It's sort of like our wedding, even
Wow.
with all the,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the thing is, there were no hotels or motels back there. When your family came, they stayed with you, your
Yeah.
neighbors, the ones across the street.
That's right.
Everybody had a wide
Yeah.
open door policy.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought that was funny. Thank God you didn't come home yesterday. You wouldn't have any place to sleep.
Well, Mom, you were talking earlier about the one of the things you would do when you lived in Harrisburg, Middletown, and on the weekends you would go back to Pittston to see your family.
Yeah, I'd go and get the bus.
What bus? Where was it? What was
Greyhound
it? The
bus.
Greyhound bus in 1942. Huh?
I'd go and stand and wait for the bus.
That's how most people drove.
Yeah.
I mean, got around.
Got around either the bus or the train.
It was like a
Because
5-hour
they couldn't
drive.
afford
It was a
cars.
5-hour.
5-hour drive, you know,
Uh-huh.
then.
Wow.
There were no
But I
super
did it.
highways.
Yeah.
I did it.
Now then at some point you, well, I remember you moved to Palmyra and built the
Well,
house.
Well, then
the new.
I lived in Harrisburg,
Right.
but close to the riverfront. It was on 5th Street.
Right.
When I was single yet.
But we already
Then
went past that.
I
Then
met
you
these
lived in.
people from Middletown,
Mhm.
the Coziers,
Ah, okay.
and then
Mhm.
I moved up there and lived with them,
Okay.
which was very nice.
Uh-huh.
And then my mind got blank.
Well, they moved to Maple Street in 54.
1954. You
Was
were
that
moved to Maple
54?
Street.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know what year it was exactly.
That's what year it was.
1954. Now, when did you move there?
Same time.
That's how we
Exactly
know.
the same time. Okay. Well, it's something. I think that was like it was one of the newer
It
developments.
was, yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
One of the first developments.
I remember growing up. Somebody, I think you told Uncle Mark, who was a realtor up in,
Mhm.
you know, they were talking about these new homes. They thought they were junk. You know, these were the new
Yeah.
You know, remember the.
Yeah.
They were all built the same. It was the first one of the
Yeah.
first.
And you were one in the Wilkes-Barre area.
A little south of Wilkes-Barre.
South.
Wilkes-Barre, then there's Hazleton.
Yeah.
Shamokin,
1954.
Markham.
I know, all those places.
So I was born 6 years later,
There you
I
go.
don't know.
1960.
Bob was born in 61.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 1960.
Yeah, my gosh. You were just a baby, but we drove to Pittston. To my parents' place there.
They didn't have car seats back then, did they? You
No,
had to
yeah.
hold your baby.
That's right.
Somehow we survived. I don't
No
know.
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have so many precautions now, and you have to do this, you can't do that. And we
It's-
lived. We got it worked
That's
out.
for sure. Yeah, the world has changed.
Well, when I was when I was born, it was November 5th, 1960. For some reason, I remember the pictures I remember seeing. There was a big snow. You know, there was a lot of snow. Yeah. I think the story was Dad had to put chains on the car to get you to the hospital. I was born a month, and then I was born premature, right?
You were born premature, yeah.
Now that was,
Just couldn't wait to enter this world.
He was the only one born premature. All the other ones were born on time.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only one that was born premature for some reason.
He was anxious to get here.
Who knows why? There were a certain amount of babies that were born premature and nothing you could do about
Yeah,
it.
they didn't have a whole lot of technology back then either, so it was
That's
like
right.
they didn't give me much hope, did they? They told you and Dad that
Yeah.
not to expect a whole lot, that it wasn't going to make
Yeah,
it.
you were 4
It's
pounds
funny
something.
because that's what happened with the twins.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They just, if they make it, they make it.
Yeah. But you were strong,
That's right. That's right.
determined.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna make your mark on life.
Yeah, that's right.
So talk about yourself a little bit, about when you left Palmyra, what happened.
Oh, that's a long story there.
We don't have enough tape, huh?
When he left Palmyra, what
Yeah,
year
yeah.
was that, Clarence? He went to college, right?
Probably 78.
Well, I graduated in 1978.
Yeah.
Oh, remember the very first, no, I guess one of the things that certainly remember was when I started playing football in junior high.
What position?
Well, I didn't know anything about football. It was
Yeah, you didn't know a damn thing about football.
Jim Dunlap, who was he's still, I keep in touch with him. He was see, Mom went to work in the cafeteria.
I remember that.
Right, so we can, be close, she'd keep an eye on us. And,
Not let
So-
you get in any
not
trouble.
let's get in any trouble, even though, now, of course, she could talk, we can go back earlier, but, our thirst for adventure was something that started very early. And, gosh, after Dad died, Mom, felt an urgency to, let her boys go, do their thing, right?
That was tough.
Yeah.
So what
Big
would we
burden on
do?
your shoulders.
Well,
I mean, they wanted to do things that I thought they can't do it by themselves, but I have no choice. I have to let them do it, and I let them do it. Go on their own to do certain things like camp, and I let them do it, and I just would pace the floor at the picture window until it was time to pick them up again.
That's when Clarence came into the picture a lot back then.
Yeah,
because
Clarence and
I would disappear on these bicycle trip rides that I was only 8 years old, and I'd get on my Stingray bike, and before I knew it, I was up in Mount Gretna, and Mom would be
Oh, my.
pacing the floor.
Yeah.